Alright guys, so we've got a 15-minute game on the board. My opponent I think is rated in the 1100s, and let's go with a Vienna. This is my current opening of choice, my current crush this week, the Vienna Gambit. I'm not going to refer to notes. Oh, hello. That's interesting. I've never seen that. Okay. So, what are we going to do? I think I'm just going to push ahead with f4. Now his knight isn't out. Normally the knight's out here, and then if takes, then the move is to push there. Okay, he's gone for a kind of symmetrical setup. That's fine. So I bring my bishop out. The idea is to kind of clear the f file. Ooh, okay. Now his bishop's come out. So I've got queen h5 with a threat against f7 there. I can't push the pawn to d4. I can push d3. Let's play that. Let's play actively and aggressively. This also means I've got two attackers now on that pawn. What would I be doing in this situation? He's got a queen there. That's okay. That protects both pawns. But then if queen comes here, I've got knight to d5, which is kind of evil. Right, knight comes out to h6. Should I capture the pawn? It's not actually yeah, it is a free capture, I suppose. If I capture, even if he can't recapture with a knight, so yeah, let's keep the pressure up. Might want to bust through, might want to push, get this capture, bishop takes h6, could be great. I mean, if he castles this side, I actually had this earlier on in the game, where my opponent I'd moved this pawn already, and then my opponent just like in 2 seconds instantly castled kingside. Alright, that's just a blunder. Just a blunder. I can take the knight and lose that pawn. Alright, you should punish mistakes. Okay, there we go. Okay, so he's taken the pawn, that's fine. And he's threatening this bishop. So a couple of ideas. Well, bishop d5 would be easy to kick away, but it would be maybe a slightly weakening pawn move if he wanted to do that. Or I can just drop back to b3. b3 is fine. I think, well, let's see what happens. I'm going to go here, see what my opponent thinks. And if he kicks it, I can always just drop back. And then if he's played that, then like I say, he's weakened his dark squares, and I've still got a dark squared bishop and a queen on the board. Ideas of maybe d3, bring my bishop out here. It really causes trouble for that queen. That queen's got nowhere to go, right? So he'd be forced to play f6, further weakening this king side. Another idea I've got is actually queen to g7. Queen to g7 will force either the rook to move there or the king to move, so the queen defends the rook. Wow, that could be good. It's weird, you know, how exciting this opening is turning out to be. It seems like every game is turning out sharp, interesting, aggressive. I've known, obviously you hear players talk about, or commentators talk about how some openings have got reputation for being boring, others have got reputation for being very sharp, but it's actually true. Alright, so he's played his queen out to f6. So that's preventing that idea. Sensible. Kingside is already a bit weakened. His pawn's defended twice. That pawn is looking weak, particularly weak to a knight attack. So I've got, for example, ideas of, I'm a piece up, but that is not a reason to go sacrificing, right? Unless you've got a very, very powerful idea. So let's say bishop takes there, but then he's got knight takes as well, which just kicks my queen away. There's not much point. What I'm thinking is I'd love to put my knight on that square. Maybe I should have thought of that before I moved my bishop there instead of backwards. I could just drop my bishop back and then next move knight there, because what I'm doing then is I'm attacking the queen and I'm also threatening c7 and the classic fork. Knights love to go on c7 or c2. Another thing I've got to watch out for a lot in this opening is because there's no f-pawn, is queen h5 check. Now right now that's not a problem because it's covered by my queen. So, is there a threat right now? Yes, there is. There is a threat of queen to f2. So it's a good move by my opponent there. Right, so I have to protect against that. It's not checkmate immediately, but say queen to f2, king d1, queen f1 I think is mate, so that is a serious issue. d4 doesn't really do anything because bishop just captures and we're in the same situation. Although then my bishop can come out. That might be an idea. So you go out there, I'm attacking then, I'm forking the bishop and the knight, so the capture is really forced. Well, it's not, I guess. If the bishop just drops back, I can't take the knight because the checkmate threat's still there, mate in 2. But if bishop takes, I've then got, for example, bishop to f4, defended by my queen. Bishop could then capture my knight and blow a hole in the queen side. I don't know about this. There, knight takes, pawn takes, and then queen just comes down, so that's no use. How else can I defend that square? How about knight to h3? That's actually not bad. Knight to h3, he might then push this, then attacking the knight with the discovered attack by his light squared bishop. Okay, so I'm thinking actually that this is my best idea right now. I can't see that one working. Okay, so he's gone ahead and captured, that's fine. I could actually now play queen to f4 or bishop to f4. Let's play bishop, it seems more solid. Ooh, hang on. Then what if he pushes his pawn down? Let's have a think. Bishop goes there, pawn comes down, queen takes pawn. That's okay. Let's do that. He might do this. There's not much I can do about that right now. And I have to remember I'm still a piece up. Okay, so with that move, clearly his intention is to bring his light squared bishop into the game somehow. Now it can't go there and it can't go there because it'll be captured. So g4 is the most likely square for that. I'm thinking right now I might just increase the pressure and try and exchange queens, right? I'm a piece up. I've captured his knight and he's got an extra pawn. So right now that queen is a big old threat to me. I'd love to get that queen out of my face. So right now the queen's got nowhere to go other than here. And if the queen goes back to g7, I'm all right with that because it means the immediate threat has gone away. And then I can simply castle queenside with an attack with a rook on the bishop, and we're looking a bit more comfortable. If this bishop moves out, I've got also potentially bishop takes b7. But then that walks into very common kind of idea of rook to here, kicking the bishop away, and then the rook could capture the pawn down there. Alright, that's surely a blunder. Surely he's blundered his queen. There isn't an instant checkmate, is there? I mean, let's say bishop takes knight, pawn takes. Bishop comes here, king takes. So I think that's just a blunder. I think it's a game-losing blunder. So I'd expect a resignation now. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to swap the material off. That knight was defending this pawn, so let's say bishop recaptures. I've got queen takes. That would force the king onto the back rank, one of those two squares. Yeah. If he comes here, I've got bishop there with a bishop fork. Always nice to look out for, the bishop forks. Not as common as knight forks. Knight forks are the most common. And kind of bishops and pawns can sometimes have some fun with forks, and queens obviously get to do it quite a lot, particularly later on in the game, but queens can fork very easily. Right. Now it's a question of converting the game without stalemating my opponent. I had a very painful game yesterday. It was actually queen. I had my queen and I'd won my opponent's queen. I had 2 minutes left on the clock and I managed to blunder my queen while my opponent had a couple of rooks. So material was kind of equal, but my queen had like the run of the board. And I blundered my queen. Couldn't believe it. Okay, he's attacking my bishop. I'm just going to play my bishop here and try and trade off. He can get out of it if he wants to, but trades at this point are only going to help me. So I'm attacking that bishop, I'm attacking that bishop. I'm way ahead in points. I'm at literally a queen and a minor piece up. Yeah, it's pretty much game over now. I think I should probably just castle just to be belt and braces, just to be sure. So that's the thing, you know. You should always be aware that your opponent can blunder. You should always be ready for your opponent to blunder at any level. Okay, I have a check with the knight if I want to. He's got two attackers now. I've just taken a piece, so how do we finish off this game? There's a check. That's a nice check. So what he's done, right, in tactics terms, okay, I've taken his piece and he did have the opportunity to recapture. What he's done is, instead of recapturing, he played a counterattack. Now, if you can escape a counterattack with check, it's a completely forcing move. My opponent has to get out of check on the next turn, and he can't block with his rook because that just gets taken, so the king has to move, and now I can get out of the counterattack, right? So now I've won a piece that way, so you always have to look out for that. If there's the idea of an exchange. Now, in-between moves can be great. Counterattacks can be great, but not if your opponent can escape it with check. And that's the key thing. Righto. So I think, do you know what, I'm simply going to castle here now, just to be sure. I don't want to fall foul of any surprise attack. Okay, pawns move forward. Let's just open up the board a little bit. Pawn recaptures. I've got knight takes, or even queen takes with check. That could be quite fatal. Queen takes with check. The king can't go there, or there. King's going to have to come here. And then I think maybe pawn to a3 might be checkmate. So he can't go there, can't go there, can't go there because of the knight. So he's only got, oh, he's got a block. Look at you. Oh, right, how do we finish this game off? a4, if pawn takes, I've got rook takes. In fact, pawn can't take, it's pinned, it's in an absolute pin. So I've got, maybe I'm looking at pawn captures on the next move. He's got into a position where I don't have a knight attack. Any piece that's two squares diagonally away from a knight is safe, because it actually takes a knight 4 turns or 3 turns to attack that. So to get a knight onto there, you'd have to go like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, takes a knight 2 turns to move 1 diagonal, right? Basically, and so you have to do that twice. Okay, so king's moved to here. That does give me, I think that's looking nice. So I think, yeah, I'll go for that. If king in there, I've got b4. Don't think there's another option for the king. Queen's defended by the knight. King's going to have to go there. I've got then b4. He can't take the pawn, he can't move, so it's checkmate. Okay, there we go. So, game ended pretty easily, I think, in the end. It was quite exciting at the start, and I'm very glad that I spotted that mating attack. That was the key thing, because that escaped me for a little while. But good idea to use your time, and there we go. So I've ended up with less time on the clock than my opponent, but a result is a result. That's the important thing. So there you go. That's how you can beat a player rated, what is it, 1100 and something? Hard to tell. Okay, he doesn't tell it on there. But yeah, I think it's kind of 1157 or something like that. Good result, and another very exciting Vienna game. So I hope it's been interesting, useful. Hope you've picked up a few ideas from that. See you next time.